Excuse?
Yes.
Right. Thank you. Excuse. Thank you. All right, State, you can call your next witness.
State calls Dr. Zuhha Ashra.
Follow the direction of the video. Thank you.
Just to remain standing until you sworn in. Raise your right hand, please.
You do solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give the court on the issue now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Thank you. Have a seat for me. Once seated, if you would please state and spell your true and correct to be believed for the record.
Zuhha Ashra, first name Zuhha, last name Ashra.
Good afternoon, Dr. Ashra.
Good afternoon.
How are you employed?
I'm a medical examiner at the Cobb County Medical Examiner's Office
Wonderful. What are your job responsibilities as a medical examiner?
to determine the cause and manner of death in the county.
And what is the purpose or reason that you all determine the cause and manner of death?
For public health statistics, vital records, insurance, data, and also for law enforcement proceedings.
Are you all required to make determinations regarding cause and manner of death as part of the Georgia Death Investigation Act?
Yes.
And is that then reported to the National Center for Health Statistics?
Yes.
Right. And I know you mentioned sometimes it's also used in legal proceedings in criminal cases. How often or what percentage of autopsies do you perform are considered homicide cases?
About 4%.
So not many.
No.
I want to talk to you a little bit about your qualifications that led you to become a medical examiner for Cobb County. Can you please tell the court about your education, background, and training?
Sure. I had received my Bachelor of Science in microbiology from the University of Georgia. I completed my Doctorate of Medicine from the Medical College of Georgia. I completed a residency in anatomic pathology from the University of Southern California. And then I completed a fellowship in forensic pathology from the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office. And then I worked as a medical examiner in the Los Angeles and Riverside County medical examiner offices. And then I came here to Cobb County in 2022.
In Riverside, is that kind of the neighboring county to Los Angeles?
Yes.
Very good. And I know this is kind of silly, but are you a medical doctor?
Yes.
Right. And are autopsies medical procedures?
Yes.
How many autopsies do you estimate that you've performed over the course of your career?
Over 1,000.
I want to talk to you about two terms in particular, pathology and forensic pathology. Can you explain for the court the difference between those two terms?
Pathology is the study of natural disease, and forensic pathology is a specialized field within pathology where we focus more on the mechanisms of trauma.
And so does that include unnatural processes as
Yes.
opposed to natural? Right. In order to understand trauma and understand forensic pathology, do you have to have some understanding of the mechanisms that cause injury or trauma to the body?
Yes.
And does that include firearms and how bullets work?
Yes.
All right. Have you ever been tendered and received as an expert in forensic pathology?
Yes.
How many times, estimate?
Between 20 and 25 times.
At this time, I'm going to tender Dr. Ashra as an expert in forensic pathology.
Defense?
I'll ask questions of her later. I have no objection at this point.
Okay. And she'll be submitted as an expert in forensic pathology.
Thank you, Your Honor. Doctor, can you first kind of walk through the autopsy process, just the basic steps to an autopsy?
Sure. First, I review the history, the investigative report, why the person has come to the medical examiner's office, why the case was reported to us. Then I proceed to review any medical records that are relevant, any radiology, and then I go to the morgue and perform my post-mortem examination of the body, which includes an external exam where I diagram all the identifying features, hair color, eye color, tattoos, scars, and then any evidence of external trauma or external natural disease processes, and then I move on to the internal examination where I identify trauma and natural disease by examining each vital organ. And then once that's all completed, I may wait for some additional testing such as toxicology, microbiology testing, and then I produce a final report and render a cause and manner of death.
Very good.
And render.
Cause and manner of death.
And is that the same autopsy process that every medical examiner in Cobb County at least does?
Yes.
Right, and you mentioned that your job is to determine the cause and manner of death. What is the cause of death? And then we'll talk about what manner of death means.
Cause of death is what immediately killed the person.
Okay, and what about manner of death?
Manner of death is how it happened, and there are 5 categories of manners of death. They are homicide, which is death at the hands of another, suicide, death at one's own hand, natural, which are things like cancer, pneumonia, natural disease processes, accident, things like drug overdoses, car accidents, and lastly is undetermined, in which manner of death cannot be determined.
And because you're required to report all these findings to the National Center for Health Statistics, is that why there is a specific category for undetermined?
Yes.
Okay. And again, you said homicide is approximately 4% in Cobb County.
That's correct.
I want to talk to you about the autopsies of Timothy Justin Hicks and Amber Hicks. Did you personally perform these 2 autopsies?
No, I did not.
Okay. Who performed these 2 autopsies?
Dr. Stacy Desmores.
And who is Dr. Desmores?
She was a full-time medical examiner at the Cobb County Medical Examiner's Office, but now she is medically retired.
And is she on permanent medical leave and unable to testify?
Yes.
Right. Nonetheless, did you work with her before her medical leave? Did you know her personally?
I did.
Right. Now, in situations such as this, where you have a fellow medical examiner who is no longer with us or who is medically unable to testify, are you able to perform independent medical reviews of the autopsy?
I am.
Okay. And in order to perform that expert review, what all materials do you look at?
I look at the investigative report, any scene photographs, any autopsy photographs, Dr. Desmore's autopsy report, the death certificate, and any other testing such as toxicology.
Do you basically go back through the various steps of an autopsy?
Yes.
Okay, and while you can not do the internal examination yourself, do you review the photographs and any radiology slides?
Yes.
Right, and so are you able to reach your own independent conclusion regarding a cause and manner of death in these occasions?
Yes.
And were you able to do that in this case?
Yes.
Did you generate your own independent report with your findings?
I did.
Okay, and did you bring your reports or any other relevant records with you?
I did.
Okay, if you need to refer to them, just let us know. What was the date of these 2 autopsies?
Both autopsies were performed on November 19th, 2021.
I want to start with the decedent, Timothy Justin Hicks. What was his age?
He was 31 years old.
Now, was he deceased on scene?
He was.
And whenever someone is deceased on scene, does one of your medical examiner investigators actually go out to the scene?
Yes.
Right, and are photographs taken?
Yes.
And did that happen in this case?
Yes.
And then do you also review crime scene photos that are taken by Cobb County police officers?
In some cases, yes.
And were you able to do that here?
Yes.
And then were there photos taken during Timothy Justin Hicks' autopsy?
Yes.
Were you able to review those?
Yes.
Were you also able to review radiology slides of his body?
Yes.
And did that also help you in determining path of travel projectiles, for example?
Yes.
Now, with respect to radiology slides as well as photos taken during these autopsy processes, is that normal for every single autopsy, whether or not it's a suspected homicide?
Yes.
And then are those records maintained in the normal course of business for your office?
Yes.
Now, along those lines, I do want to go ahead and read a few of these stipulations, Your Honor. First will be stipulation 1, states exhibits 528 through 567 are true and accurate photographs of decedent Amber Hicks, her clothing, and a projectile recovered from her body taken during her autopsy. States exhibit 598 is the projectile recovered from Amber Hicks's posterior neck during her autopsy. States exhibits 569 through 596 are true and accurate photographs of decedent Timothy Justin Hicks and the 2 projectiles recovered from his body taken during his autopsy. And states exhibit 599 are the projectiles recovered from Timothy Justin Hicks' head and chest during his autopsy.
Attorney, as to stipulations 1, 2, 3, and 4.
That's correct, Judge, and once we fill in those numbers that weren't filled in initially, I'll issue that.
As to States Exhibits 528 to 567, those were admitted. States Exhibit 598 is admitted. States Exhibits 569 to 596 are admitted, and States Exhibit 599 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. So again, I want to stick with Timothy Justin Hicks for now. And admittedly, are some of these photographs kind of difficult for individuals to see if they're not accustomed to this type of work?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. We can switch it. Alright, States Exhibit 569 here, what is being documented on States 569?
Could you repeat the question?
What's being documented, what information do you include here on the body bag?
This is a photograph of the body bag. It includes the Cobb County case number, the decedent's name, and the seal number of the body bag.
And do we continue to see your Cobb County medical examiner case number on all of the photographs?
Yes.
States Exhibit 570 here, what is the purpose of the documentation?
This is a photograph of the seal intact, along with the case number.
Now, is it customary for the decedent to be documented exactly as received?
Yes.
All right, States Exhibit 571 here, is that what we're looking at?
Yes. This is the body as it's received. The clothing is still intact and it has not been cleaned up yet.
States 572, do you typically photograph all the way down their body?
Yes. We usually take 3 photographs.
So States 572, is that kind of the second photograph that's normally taken?
Yes.
And then States 573, is that the 3rd photograph showing the lower half of the body?
Yes.
How many injuries were documented on, and I'm going to refer to him as Justin Hicks, so on Justin's body?
He had 3 entrance gunshot wounds.
States Exhibit 574 here, what are we looking at in States 574?
This is what we call an identification photograph, basically a photo of the decedent's face with the case number and all the blood and other materials are removed.
And then do you again take photos of kind of the top portion, middle portion, and lower portion of the decedent's body after they've been cleaned?
Yes.
All right, States Exhibit 575 here. Is that the top portion of his body?
Yes.
All right, States 576, are we mid-range?
Yes.
And States 577, is that the lower portion of his body?
Yes.
And you already mentioned that there were 3 visible entry wounds on his body. In order to kind of stay organized and document, do you label gunshots 1, 2, and 3?
Yes.
Okay. Do those necessarily correspond to the order in which they were received?
No.
So I want to start with what you have labeled as gunshot wound number 1. Where was that gunshot wound?
This gunshot wound was on the right temporal scalp, basically the right side of the head.
States 578 here. Is that gunshot wound number 1?
Yes.
All right. Now, what have you done here, or I shouldn't say you, but what did the tech do in this case here so that they could better document this injury?
Usually with gunshot wounds that are in an area with hair, the area around the gunshot wound is shaved to better visualize the injury.
In states 579 here, what's kind of being held back when this photograph was taken for purposes of documentation?
The ear is being folded back.
And then states 580, is it normal to zoom into gunshot wounds to better be able to see?
Yes.
All right, now here, gunshot wound number 1, what we're looking at in states 580, is this considered an entry or an exit wound?
This is an entry wound.
Right, and how is it that you typically tell the difference between an entry wound versus an exit wound?
An entry wound typically is more ovoid or circular. It has an abrasion border, and the edges cannot be reapproximated.
And an abrasion border, what is an abrasion border?
An abrasion border is created when a bullet enters the wound, or enters the skin and tears the skin around the defect.
Right. We see some of that here.
Yes.
Right. When you said it can't be reapproximated on an entry wound, do you see an actual hole in the body?
It is like a punched out hole.
And we'll look at an exit later to kind of distinguish it. Now, when you're looking at an entry wound such as this, do you look for possible range of fire indicators?
Yes.
All right. What is a range of fire indicator? What does that mean?
A range of fire indicator are things like soot and stippling or searing around the gunshot wound, which indicate if the wound is close range, contact range, or intermediate range. Soot is basically the soot that is expelled from the muzzle of the gun. Stippling is created when gunpowder particles exit the muzzle of the gun and strike the skin, creating like punctate abrasions. Sometimes there's soot and stippling, but in this case there are no range of fire indicators, which means that the range of fire is indeterminate, which could mean that it is distant range or that there is some intermediate target in between that blocked the range of fire indicators from reaching the skin, such as hair or if a person was shot through a wall or a window.
So do you know for certain in looking at states 580 that we don't have a press contact wound?
Yes.
Okay. But in terms of any other range of fire indicators, if it's absent, do you label that as indeterminate?
Yes.
Okay. And so here, there's no way to know whether it's 2 feet versus 6 feet.
Yes.
Now, this is an entry wound in states 580 here, where you all was the medical examiner's office able to recover a projectile from Justin Hicks?
Yes.
All right. And where was that found?
The projectile correlating to this entrance wound was recovered from the left posterior neck, so basically the left back of the neck.
Were there photographs taken of this?
Yes.
Okay. And was it also able to be seen through radiology slides so that you could independently see this?
Yes.
All right. States 581 here, what is the purpose or what is being kind of pointed to in states 581?
This is where the projectile was located under the skin. Sometimes it creates a bulge under the skin or can be palpated.
And then is it customary with your office that when a projectile is recovered, when able, photographs are taken of that as well?
Yes.
Is that what we see in State's Exhibit 582 here?
Yes, this is after the skin is incised and the projectile is visualized.
And then is it also customary with your office to take photographs of the actual projectile once it's removed from someone's body?
Yes.
State's Exhibit 583, is that what's depicted here?
Yes.
All right, and then per the stipulation, we've also put in State's Exhibit 99, is that, are the projectiles actually collected and kept with your office?
Yes, the projectiles are collected as evidence.
I'm sorry, is that 599?
599, yes, which is stipulation number 4. Now, were you able to see for yourself from the radiology slides where within the brain, looking at States 578, this projectile traveled?
The path of travel of this wound is the right temporal scalp, the right temporal bone, the dura, the right temporal lobe, cerebellum, the dura, left occipital bone, and left posterior neck soft tissue.
I'm sorry, the last portion?
Left posterior neck soft tissue.
And what is the effect of striking the right temporal and cerebellum portions of the brain?
This is immediately incapacitating and rapidly lethal.
Immediately incapacitating. And rapidly lethal. And what was the direction from this entry wound at States 578 to where this projectile came to a rest in States 582?
The direction of travel was right to left, downwards, and slightly front to back.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
The direction of travel in the anatomic position of the body was right to left, downwards, and slightly front to back.
I'm going to show you what's previously been marked and admitted, which is States Exhibit 221 here. In your expert opinion, would Justin have received this gunshot wound in the area of the living room?
Yes.
And I think you mentioned that this was immediately incapacitating. Would he have had any purposeful movement after receiving this injury?
No.
Now, given where the entry and where the entry wound is and where the bullet was recovered, would it have been possible for him to be actually on the ground, slouched down like this, and receive that wound?
No.
Could he have been standing up and kind of looking back towards this playroom area, or this playroom area or the Christmas tree area when he received this wound?
Yes. It's possible.
Next, I want to go to what you have labeled as as gunshot wound number 2. Where was that located?
This was located on the right upper arm.
Looking at States 584, is that the second gunshot wound?
Yes.
And again, second for documentation purposes. All right, and then zooming into this wound here, looking at States 5 86, are you able to determine whether that is an entry or an exit?
This is an injury wound.
This kind of bottom area of this wound here, what is that?
That is part of the abrasion border.
And then is the skin also missing in that area?
Yes.
Alright, now here, similar to the last wound, did you look for any range of fire indicators?
I did. They were not present or identifiable.
So is that considered indeterminate range?
Yes.
Now in this case, having seen the scene photographs, did he have some clothing on?
He did.
Okay. Can that interfere with any possible range of fire evidence?
Yes.
Now, was there a corresponding exit wound for gunshot wound number 2?
No.
Where was this through the radiology slides that you were able to see? Were you able to see where this bullet traveled from within the body?
The bullet traveled from the right upper arm soft tissue, the right axillary soft tissue, which is the armpit area, and passing through important vessels, the axillary artery and vein, and then came to rest in the right chest soft tissue.
I'm sorry, repeat that.
And then it came to rest in the right chest soft tissue.
So looking at states 587 here, did the bullet go kind of, I guess, upward so that it went through the armpit, or stayed in the body through the armpit and then came to rest at the chest wall?
Yes, it stayed within the body.
And was that bullet able to be retrieved from the body?
Yes.
Is that what's documented in states 588 here?
Yes.
And is that also contained in the same bag of states 599 as evidence removed from Justin's body?
Yes.
What was the direction of travel for that second gunshot wound?
In the anatomic position, the projectile or the gunshot wound traveled right to left and slightly upwards.
Now, would this have been lethal?
It's potentially lethal without medical intervention.
And what is the major concern if it were just this injury? What would have been like the major concern as to why this could be lethal?
Perforation of the axillary artery and vein.
Is that a rather large artery and vein?
It is a major vessel, both of them.
Does that end up resulting in blood loss?
Yes.
And then the final gunshot wound, is that number 3?
Yes.
Looking at states 589 here, wait a minute, let's look at states 590 first. What side of the body are we looking at?
This is the right aspect of the abdomen.
Okay, this is kind of near like the side of the ribs.
Yes.
And looking at states 592, is that a zoomed in photograph of the same gunshot wound?
Yes.
Alright, and once again, what do we see kind of towards the side and bottom of this gunshot wound?
The abrasion border.
Now, were there any range of fire indicators?
No.
Would this wound have also been covered by clothing?
Yes.
Now, with this particular wound, was there a corresponding exit wound?
There was.
And where was the exit wound?
The exit wound was more on the front side of the abdomen, near the belly button.
Looking at states 593 here, is that the exit wound?
Yes.
And then looking at states 594, is that the zoomed in version?
Yes.
And are you able, or in theory, able to kind of connect the tissue unlike an entry wound?
Yes.
Now, to get a better idea, if you're looking at states 589, are you able to see both the entry and exit wound in states 589?
Yes.
Did this projectile hit any major arteries?
No.
Was it really just soft tissue for this guy?
It was through soft tissue and did not enter the abdominal cavity.
And what was the direction of travel of this projectile?
Back to front and right to left.
Would this have been,
I'm having a hard time hearing that.
It's back to front and right to left.
would this,
Gosh, right, you can actually pull the microphone down just.
Down?
that actually works.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge. Would this injury, gunshot wound number 3, have been independently lethal?
Less potentially lethal if no medical intervention was rendered due to the possibility of possibly getting like an infection or something like that, but it's very low likelihood.
Fair enough. Are all gunshot wounds potentially lethal?
Yes.
If untreated?
Yes.
Okay. Can disease or infection be extremely traumatic?
Yes.
But ultimately, a gunshot wound like this, had he received immediate treatment and not had any other injuries, would this have been survivable?
Yes.
Looking at states 595 here, what are we looking at in states 595?
This is a linear abrasion, like a scrape.
States 596, is that a zoom in of that same scrape?
Yes.
And in your expert opinion, did this appear to be a fresh wound?
Yes.
Did it appear to be around, did it appear to have occurred around the same time as the gunshot wounds?
Yes.
Now, in your expert opinion, could this sort of abrasion have occurred if a child accidentally took like a shard of glass and had it along his father's body?
Yes, it could be caused by that.
We'll circle back to those in a moment here. I will this time move to Tender States 597 into evidence, which is the certified death certificate for Timothy Justin Hicks. Objection.
No, yeah.
States 597 is admitted.
And now I want to move on to Amber Hicks. How old was Amber Hicks?
She was also 31 years old.
And was she likewise deceased on scene?
Yes.
And did you do the same expert medical review that you did for Timothy Justin Hicks in terms of reviewing the medical examiner investigative report, any scene photographs taken by either the medical examiner's office or Cobb County Police, as well as radiology slides, photographs, and the like?
Yes.
And we've already tendered her photographs by stipulation, so we'll start with states 528 here. Is this the same sort of documentation of Amber's body bag, case number, and medical seal?
Yes.
States 529, was the seal of her body bag likewise intact?
Yes.
States Exhibit 530, is this the documentation of Amber before she was cleaned and examined?
Yes.
States 531, is this her midsection?
Yes.
And states 532.
The lower half of the body, yes.
I'm sorry.
The lower half of the body.
States 533 here, is this the identification photo that was taken?
Yes.
Now, for Amber, how many visible gunshot wounds were seen on her body?
She had 3 entrance gunshot wounds.
And likewise, when you wrote your own report, did you enumerate them for purposes of documentation?
Yes.
All right. So starting with your gunshot wound number 1, which one was that?
This was the entrance wound on the left lower cheek.
Looking at states 534, is that depicted here?
Yes.
All right, and then if we look at states 535 here, and I'll just zoom in on on this photograph here, are you able to tell whether this wound was an entry or an exit?
This wound is an entry wound.
Do you see an abrasion border on the left portion of this gunshot wound?
Yes, and the defect is a punched out hole.
Now, was there any range of fire here?
No.
Was there any corresponding exit wound?
No.
Similar to Justin, was a projectile recovered from her neck area?
Yes.
State's Exhibit 537. Is that being documented here?
Yes.
Okay. And looking at State's 538, is it normal to have this kind of contusion area where a bullet may have come to rest?
Yes.
State's 539, was the bullet then extracted from Amber's neck?
Yes.
And per y'all's normal processes in the medical examiner's office, take photographs of the bullet that was recovered.
Yes.
Is that what we see in State's 540?
Yes.
In State's 541, just so it's not confusing, is that just the other side of the projectile?
It is.
So just one projectile, just two different angles?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. All right. And per the stipulation that I've just read, that would include State's 598, which is the physical projectile that was depicted in State's 540 and 541. Now, based on the photograph documenting the entry as well as where the bullet was recovered, as well as the radiology slides, were you able to determine where within Amber's head and neck area this bullet traveled?
Yes, the bullet traveled from the left lower cheek and left neck soft tissue, the left carotid artery, left internal jugular vein, the cervical vertebra, including the spinal cord, and then came to rest in the right neck soft tissue.
And hitting things like the left carotid artery, and the jugular vein, and cervical vertebrae, is that lethal?
Yes.
Okay. Is that similar to Justin's head, gunshot wound to his head? Is that immediately incapacitating?
It is.
Is it rapidly lethal?
Yes.
Would she have been instantly paralyzed?
Yes.
What was the direction? And I know from anatomical position, what would the direction have been?
Front to back, left to right, and downward.
Now, whenever you are documenting trajectory, is it important for consistency to document an anatomical position?
It is.
Can some of those directions kind of change depending on the actual orientation of the body at the time that it was struck with gunfire?
Yes.
In this particular case, looking at State's 534, if her head was turned towards her right shoulder, could the gunfire have come from the right side of her body and penetrating her kind of from left to right? Does that question make sense?
Yes.
Going back, well, put a picture here. Looking at State's 244 here, which has already been tendered and admitted, in your expert opinion, would Amber's body have been really in the same position, meaning where her torso was, her bottom and her legs, when she was shot in the head?
Yes.
Okay. Now, could her upper portion of the body been kind of at least a little more upright?
Yes, she could have slumped over after being shot.
But ultimately was kind of the bottom of her body in the same exact position?
Yes, most likely.
I'm sorry.
I said yes, most likely.
Alright, gunshot wound number 2, or how you've documented as number 2, where is that gunshot wound?
This was on the right forearm.
Looking at states 545 here, is this the gunshot wound number 2?
Yes.
And zooming in here of states, let's do states 547. On the top part of her forearm, was that an entry or an exit?
This is an entry wound.
And can you see some of that abrasion border on the right side?
Yes.
Was there any sort of range of fire indicators?
No.
Given that we have photographs with her in a t-shirt, does that mean it's likely not going to be close range?
Yes, that's true.
And if it's not close range, what is the general kind of estimate as to at least X number of feet away?
I'd say at least like 6 feet away.
Now, did you have a corresponding exit wound for this entry wound?
Yes.
And where was that located?
On the other side of the forearm.
States 548 here, is that what we're looking at?
Yes.
And states 550, is this the zoomed in version?
Yes.
Alright, now here, in states 550, does this resemble at all an entry wound?
There are features of an entry wound, such as, actually, no, it looks like an exit wound.
Well, let me ask you this, what is a short exit wound?
A short exit wound is when the skin is pressed up against something, so sometimes it can have features of an entry wound, such as an abrasion border. However, this one has more features of both, I guess you could say. There is an abrasion border, but it is very irregular and the edges can't be put together, so it's more similar to a exit wound.
Okay. Sometimes when there's features of both, do you call it short exit wounds?
Yes.
Alright, now when, in order to obtain a short exit wound, could the support come from another part of someone's body?
Yes.
Now, for this particular wound here, did it hit anything major, any bones or anything?
It did not.
Okay, so is this just skin, soft tissue?
Yes.
Typically, is this kind of less likely to be lethal if there's, just less likely to be lethal?
It is less likely to be lethal.
Now, we'll go back to that in just a moment. But where is the third gunshot wound?
The third gunshot wound is on the right thigh.
Looking at states 552 here, are we able to see the entry wound?
Yes.
Now, with respect, and can you also see the exit?
Yes.
Okay. And with respect to these two wounds, it's a little bit difficult to tell which one is an entry versus exit.
Yes.
Looking at the close-up of the wound here on her thigh, is that what we see in states 554?
Yes.
Okay. To some degree, does it look like you could potentially push the skin back together?
To some degree, yes.
Then looking at states 555, are you now focused on the exit here?
Yes.
All right, states 558, is that a zoomed in photograph of that exit?
Yes.
And is that slightly irregular as well?
Yes.
Do either of these give any indication of potentially short entry or exit wounds?
No.
Did this strike anything within her body?
It still affected the soft tissue of the thigh.
And is this kind of not as likely to be lethal given that it's skin and soft tissue?
It's less likely to be lethal.
Now, with these wounds, were trajectory rods used to help look at the direction of travel?
Yes.
So now I want to look at those. Well, actually, let me do this first. Did she have any other abrasions or marks on her body?
She did.
Okay, and where was that?
There was a rather large abrasion on her abdomen.
Looking at stage 560, is that what we see here?
Yes.
Right, and then is there a zoomed in photograph in stage 561?
Yes.
Okay, and here, did any sort of bullet penetrate her skin or go into her abdomen area?
No.
Now, was clothing also documented in the autopsy process?
Yes.
All right, states 562 here, this firefighter shirt, is that the kind of like view of the entirety of the front of the shirt?
Yes.
Okay. States 563, what is the purpose of using little green arrows?
The arrows point out defects that are present in the shirt.
States 564, is that kind of just zooming into those defects there?
Yes.
Now, given the crime scene photos that you were able to review, as well as these photographs showing the injuries to her body, how did these defects in states 563 correspond to the general area of the abrasion that we saw in states 561?
The defects are generally overlying this abrasion.
Now, generally, if a bullet were to not hit anything and directly hit a human stomach, is that going to penetrate the skin?
Generally, yes.
For it to not penetrate the skin, what does that tell you?
That the bullet has slowed down significantly.
Now, even if a bullet were to travel through skin and soft tissue and not strike any bones or anything major, can that still slow down the momentum of a bullet?
It can.
Looking now to the photos with the trajectory rods, looking at states 551, is this kind of the how gunshot wound 2 entry and exit correspond to one another?
Yes.
All right, looking at states 559 here, does the trajectory rod show how gunshot wound 3 entry and exit correspond to one another?
Yes.
Is it possible that gunshot wound 2 and 3 actually correspond to one another?
It is very possible.
Is it possible that gunshot wound 2 and 3 is actually the result of a single bullet?
It is possible.
In your expert opinion, if Amber were kind of curled up in a ball with using her hands to kind of support her knees, is it possible that the bullet could have entered her forearm, exited her inner forearm, entered the outer thigh, exited the inner thigh, and struck her stomach?
Yes.
If she was in that particular position and the bullet actually went in and out of her body twice, in your expert opinion, would that allow for the bullet to lose momentum?
Definitely.
And could that account for why if the bullet did not penetrate her skin in States Exhibit 560?
Yes.
Is that possibility even more likely given the 2 defects that are on her shirt in States 564 and 565?
Yes.
Looking at states 273 and 274, which were previously admitted. Have you previously seen these photographs, states 273 and states 274?
I have.
Okay. And looking at the location of this projectile, could this projectile have been responsible for gunshot wound 2 and 3?
Yes.
If this single projectile that we see in states 274 entered the outer forearm, exited the inner forearm, entered the outer thigh, and exited the inner thigh and struck her stomach, would it have lost enough momentum to just lie still on the couch?
Yes.
Okay, as opposed to penetrating the couch?
Yes.
Now, I know normally, well, let me ask you this. Normally, do you all give expert opinions as to order of gunfire?
In some cases, if it's possible to determine.
Okay, in this particular case, just focusing on Amber right now, is it possible to predict the order of gunfire?
It is.
And so which gunshot would have come first?
The gunshot wound to the right forearm, which exits and then re-enters the right thigh.
And why is it that we know that one where she's curled up in a ball would have come before the gunshot wound to the head?
Because the gunshot wound to the head would have struck her spinal cord and she would no longer have any muscular movement and be able to hold her legs up.
Looking at states 243 here, in order for gunshot wounds 2 and 3, so the forearm and the thigh, would the shooter have been standing on this side of Amber, meaning on the right side of her body?
Yes.
Looking at states 221 here. So your expert opinion, looking at Justin and Amber combined, how many gunshots did they suffer in total?
At least 5.
And no more than how many?
No more than 6.
Okay, so if it were 5, is that accounting for Amber's gunshot wounds number 2 and 3 to correspond?
Yes.
Okay. If those did not actually correspond, is that how you would end up with 6?
Yes.
With respect to Justin's 3 gunshot wounds, what was the direction of all 3 of Justin's gunshot wounds?
Right to left.
Now, given that they were all obtained on the right side of the body going towards the left side, is it reasonable in your expert opinion that he's standing in this area and peering over towards the area of the Christmas tree when he was shot?
It's possible, yes.
Now, given your testimony that he would have immediately been incapacitated, particularly with the gunshot wound to his head, would the shooter have been somewhere in the area between this playroom and perhaps the midsection of the couch?
Yes.
Now, is there any evidence that Amber was able to make any significant movements from where she was originally to when she was shot?
No.
Based on your expert opinion and having looked at this case, what would the last shot for both Justin and Amber have been?
The last shot in both victims would be in the head.
Is that because they would have both been immediately incapacitating and rapidly lethal?
Yes, they would have dropped and stayed stationary where they're laying right now.
And what was the cause and manner of death for both Timothy Justin Hicks and Amber Hicks?
Gunshot wounds.
And what was the manner of death for both Timothy Justin Hicks and Amber Hicks?
Homicide.
This kind of state moves to tender case 568 into evidence, which is the certified death certificate for Amber Hicks.
Objection.
Okay. 6568 is admitted.
And are gunshot wounds listed as the cause of death on both of these certified death certificates that were issued by Dr. Justin Hicks?
Yes.
And were both deaths ruled to be homicides in these certified death certificates?
Yes.
That's all the questions I'll leave it right there.
Are you ready? You may proceed.
Good afternoon, Doctor.
Good afternoon.
Doctor, when was the first time that you had an opportunity to look at this case?
I briefly reviewed it before preparing my medical expert review some number of months ago when I received the subpoena for the case.
Okay, I'm really sorry. I'm having a hard time picking up what you say. I'm old and I can't hear real well, and you kind of slur a little bit. Tell me the date that you first started looking at this case. You would.
I don't remember the exact date.
Okay. Would it have been this year?
Yes, this year.
Would it have been in the last 2 months?
Somewhere in the last 2 to 3 months, yes.
Okay. And you told us earlier that there was an investigator with your office that did a report.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. And did the investigator go to the scene before Mr. and Ms. Hicks were taken from the scene?
Yes.
Did he do any measurements?
No.
Okay. And did he document by photograph any of the areas that we've been talking about?
Yes.
Okay. What areas did he photograph?
He photographed the bodies and the room in which the bodies were found.
Okay. And the photograph of the living room looking back towards where the Christmas tree is, did his photograph show that there was a gate, a white gate, in between those two rooms?
Yes.
Okay. You never had an opportunity to go to the scene, right?
No.
I want to talk just a little bit about the gunshot wounds. And you said a number of times that's possible that happened. And there are a lot of things that are possible that happen in gunshot wounds, isn't there?
Yes.
Okay, and it really kind of depends on the movement of the body.
Yes.
Okay. And it depends on where the person doing the shooting might be standing.
Yes.
In this particular case, can you determine whether the person was moving from one area of the house to the other when the shots were fired?
There is a reasonable likelihood that the shooter started more on the right or the entryway of the room and made his way kind of more further into the room.
Well, when you look at the photographs from where the Christmas tree is, the little room there, can you see the person sitting on the couch?
No.
When you're in that room? So the person would have to get past that room in order to be able to see Ms. Hicks sitting on the couch.
Yes.
Okay. So they would have had to not fire from there, they would have had to move on into the home.
Yes.
Could you tell whether they moved far enough to get over the gate?
If you're speaking about the gate that is in the room adjacent to where Mr. and Mrs. Hicks were, then yes, he would have moved past that gate.
Okay. Now, I want to ask you on Mr. Hicks, you told us about a scrape that you saw on his inner thigh.
Yes.
The state asked you if that could be from a piece of glass.
Yes.
Was there any photograph that you saw, either from your investigator or from any of the police photographs, where there's a piece of glass close to that scrape?
No, not immediately near the screen.
Okay. What else could have caused that scrape other than a piece of glass?
Anything with a pointed edge or sharp edge.
Okay. You're not suggesting that the person doing the shooting scraped in any way, correct?
It's unknown how that scrape occurred.
Okay. Could be from fingernails.
Could be.
Okay. Did you check under Mr. Hicks' fingernails to see if maybe he scratched himself on the way down?
I looked at photographs of the hands, but I didn't see any indication of like tissue under his fingernails.
And the state asked you about the first gunshot wound to Mr. Hicks, and you said it was downward front to back and looking right. Is that correct?
The first gunshot wound for Mr. Hicks?
This first gunshot wound from Mr. Hicks.
Yes, right to left, downwards, and slightly front to back.
Okay. And on that particular gunshot, the state was asking you, would he be looking to the right? And it would really kind of depend, he would have to look way to the right in order to get shot on the right side, right?
Well, if his body was turned facing the entryway, it would be rather easy to.
It's right in this area, he would have to turn pretty far to the right, wouldn't he, in order to get that gunshot?
This is the right.
So would he be looking straight, or would he be looking to the right or looking to the left?
If he's trying to face the right side and his body is turned to the right side, he doesn't have to angle his head that much to get shot in the right side of the head.
And it would depend also on where the person doing the shooting was standing.
Yes.
You told us that you believe that there would be 5 gunshots, but there possibly could be 6.
Yes.
Did you see any of the photographs that would indicate that there was any blood spatter, any patterns of blood spatter?
I didn't see any significant amounts of blood at the scene.
Okay. Just want to ask you, when one fires a gun, is there gunshot residue that might be on their hands?
Yes.
Okay. How long would that residue stay on their hands?
It's unknown. It depends on if the person washed their hands afterwards.
Is it likely that it would be on their hands after 2 or 3 days?
It's possible. I'm not sure.
Do you know whether anyone tested Matthew's hands, see if he had any residue on them?
I don't know anything about that.
And you didn't see any cuts at all on either Mr. or Ms. Hicks' feet, like they may have stepped in glass or been moving around with glass was, correct?
No, I did not see any injuries like that.
All right. I think that's all I have, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you. Any hearings or any follow-up or redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Ladies and Ms.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Have your hands approached.